Thank you so much, our viewers from whatever location you're tuning in. Happy to invite you for this particular episode of The Point. The Point is a podcast chat show where we have conversations with personalities for purposes of informing, educating, and impacting lives. On show today, we are happy and we are honored to have a man who did no introduction. But for the benefit of those who do not know him, I'm going to invite him to introduce himself before we start the show. Karibu.
Asante.
For the sake of our viewers,
yes.
Who is Steve?
Steve Mbogo is a businessman and also a leader.
Yes.
I'm a businessman venturing from quite a line of businesses.
Yes.
From commodity trading,
yes,
to mining, to real estate,
yes,
to food production and exports.
Yes.
And currently, I'm also into leadership. I've been a leader before.
Yes.
I acted as the patron of Kenya University Students Organizations from 2015 to 2020.
Yes.
For 5 years.
Yes.
I was a candidate in Starehe in 2017, as you remember, under ODM.
Yes.
I served as a NEC member in ODM.
Yes.
And but last elections I did not vie because I didn't find purpose. I'm one person who is purpose driven.
Okay.
And looking at the political situations of last year,
yes,
I ought not to present my candidature because I did not see purpose.
Yes.
And at that time I was supporting a presidential candidate. He did not make it, but I involved myself into leadership just to transform and bring out change as towards the definition of politics.
Yes.
Because you're told politics is the art of transforming humanity or guiding humanity to conform with the society.
Yes.
And that's why I offer myself into leadership.
Thank you so much for that particular introduction. But for purposes of today, we want to have a conversation on a subject that many love to hear about, but few like to talk about.
Yes.
From the outset,
yes,
you've been in the recent past quoted as being the face of this conversation around the New World Order.
Yes.
What is New World Order in your contextually, in your understanding, or the way you've been talking about it? What is New World Order?
The New World Order basically is the new structure of governance that is being introduced to the global world.
Yes.
When I talk of the global world, I mean this is an agenda that is meant for a total change on matters to do with lifestyle and governance in the entire globe.
Yes.
And the New World Order agenda is not an agenda that started yesterday. We remember during the old times, during the times of great leaders like Stalin of Russia, and great leaders like Hitler of Germany. They also had a similar ideology.
Yes.
They wanted to create a structure where they could control the entire globe.
Yes.
And you find that they were very powerful. They had great armies. They were well lubricated in terms of economics and all that. But maybe their approach was wrong.
Yes.
Because when you look at Stalin and you look at Hitler, they resorted to use force.
Yes.
And that backfired because of a collective ideology of the countries that did not support that agenda.
Yes.
And it failed.
Yes.
And immediately after the Second World War, that is in 1945.
Yes.
Immediately in 1946, that is when there was the formulation of the United Nations.
Yes.
If you have time and read, you see, I keep telling people and reminding people that information is power, and knowledge is king.
Yes.
The biggest problem in this country, or maybe I'll say with humanity, is that we don't read.
We rarely read.
And it is not by wish. It is also because of a sense of synchronization by the people in power, who make you believe that there are only few structures that are supposed to give you information.
Yes.
For example, just the mainstream media, or maybe the leaders of opposition or the leaders in government.
Yes.
But people fail to do their own independent research, just to read and understand.
Yes.
It is very funny that everything that happens in this world, it is always written somewhere.
Yes, it's available in some
available.
Yes, in some form of literature.
But you see, the people who exploit this understand that people don't read.
Yes.
People don't do independent researches.
Yes.
And that's why we fail as a country. Now, the formulation of UN, they did a very special document called the United Nations Charter, which was formulated on the 13th of February, 1946.
Yes.
If you have time, go Google it, read about the United Nations Charter.
Yes.
It says clearly that its key objective is to transform the sovereignties of all sovereign states to a one world government.
Bring all states into one.
Into one.
Yes.
the whole world into a one world government. When we talk of a one world government,
Yes.
I'm talking of one president.
Would we say they've achieved it so far?
They're really heading there. They're really heading there, and that's where we are heading there. So, yes. You know, the most important thing is for people to be aware.
Yes.
And decide whether they want to go that direction or not.
Yes.
And we are seeing a shift in the global ideology.
Yes.
There is now a push and pull between the West and the East.
And the East.
The East are coming up with their own agenda, with the BRICS agenda. The West are sticking to the New World Order agenda.
Yes.
So it's a push and pull. But having said that, when you talk of the one world government, you're talking of one president, one military or one army, one police system, one judicial system, one currency, and one control system.
Okay.
And you can imagine these are formulations that have been formulated from 1946 until now.
Yes.
But in their own agenda, 2030 is stated as the final year of full implementation.
2030.
2030.
So we are six years shy away.
But 2024 is counted as year one of acceleration. And that is why people can notice there is changes in so many things. When you talk of administrations, when you talk of lifestyle, when you talk of ideologies, things are changing so fast in the world. And that is why I'm saying people need to be informed.
Yes.
Because you're told education is a system of transmitting civilization. So the more informed you are, the more educated you are, the more you read, the more you're civilized, or the more you understand life.
Yes.
And that is the challenge. So this approach was a very, very well formulated structure, and they had structures on how to approach that ultimate goal.
Yes.
Number one, they decided that they have to come up with few key things to control in order to control the masses.
Yes.
At that time, the whole agenda was spearheaded by a group of billionaires.
Yes.
They were called the 300 families, the 300 group of 300 men and women.
Yes.
These were the billionaires of the world. Of the world, yes. They still exist.
Yes.
And those families still exist because it is about economics.
Yes.
You control the economy, you control the systems. Yes, because they are the people who control the major systems, from transport to communication to economy.
Yes.
All those things are controlled by them.
Yes.
So they started, and at that time the group was called the Bilderberg Group. You can read about that.
Yes.
And they started formulating these strategies as early as 1950s.
Yes.
And it went down, and the main acceleration came down in 1971 when they now formed an organization called the World Economic Forum.
The Davos-based.
The Davos-based organization.
Correct.
It's nice you understand about them. It's an organization led by one German economist called Klaus Schwab.
Yes.
But their first approach was first to build a collective Europe and control it first as a prototype.
Yes.
And that is when they created what we call the European Union.
The EU, yes.
The EU was created on an ideology of economy.
Yes.
That we need to open up our borders and create an economy amongst ourselves.
Yes.
But EU in itself is not a country.
Yes.
It is an organization.
Yes.
But today you'll agree with me that all policies, including political, social, economical, in decisions of any country within EU is decided by the EU organization and not the independent state.
Yes.
So that was the prototype.
Yes.
And they managed to conquer it.
Yes.
Once they conquered it, they understood now it's easy to stretch towards the other parts of the continent.
The continent, yes.
In their structure, they said that they want to divide the world into 4 pieces.
Yes.
The first piece will be the American state, which will be called the USA, the United States.
Yes.
The United States will combine the North America,
South America, yes.
and the South America.
Yes.
So that will be one state. The second one will be Europe.
Yes.
The third one will be Asia, which will collectively take China, Asia, India, all into one block.
Into one block.
And the other one will be Africa.
The Africa, yes.
Which Africa, they're saying it will be fully controlled by the UN. You and I know today, if you go to the news, about 2-3 weeks ago, the United Nations announced that, in fact, the entire New York office is moving to Nairobi.
Nairobi, yes.
Yes. So that is part of the plan.
Yes.
But people don't read and don't understand where we are being taken. Now, these people understood that the best way to control these countries is by ensuring they get the right presidents in these countries, so that they can easily manipulate and create policies that will favor their agenda.
When you say get the right presidents, do you mean the people have no sovereign power to elect their leaders or leaders? This is just a process that has been determined elsewhere.
My brother, you'll agree with me, even our last elections.
Yes.
If you are keen enough, even at the Bomas Tallying Center, the European nations, ambassadors and leaders were more than even the Kenya Kwanza and the ODM and Azimio leaders.
Especially on the day of the declaration of the results.
It was purely, you could ask yourself whether it's a Kenyan election or an EU election. So President William Ruto was clearly a Western agenda.
Okay.
And these are not my words.
Part of the larger,
plan.
New world order.
New world order. Okay. Of course, in terms of formulation.
Yes.
You remember one of Raila's last press conferences last year. Yes. He openly stated, you know, the problem is also most of these leaders are complicit and they fear talking.
Yes.
But Raila clearly stated that we have now realized that it is not Ruto who rigged my elections, but there are some other people who had interests in Kenya, external forces that rigged the elections. That is what he meant. If you can remember very well, a few weeks ago, no, months ago, I think in January, Kalonzo Musyoka also had an interview. And he stated clearly, he said, there is rumor that there is going to be change of governance in the whole world. And he doesn't know if that is why this government is behaving in a funny way. So our leaders understand these things, but either they are complicit or they are fearful to speak about these things. Leadership is about patriotism. Leadership is about service to the people and humanity. If a leader is not bold enough to speak about what ails his people, then they should not be anywhere close to leadership.
More often than not, majority of people make a mistake in distinguishing the two. They are leaders and they are folks in leadership. So could you speak to that? Because I hear people say leaders. Well, the truth of the matter is not everyone in leadership position is a leader. And therefore, that's why you get, even if I use your words, those who are behind the New World Order are riding on that because they know these are people they can manipulate. So exactly. Could you speak to that a little bit also?
Now, one of the major causes or the biggest cancer in the leadership systems in our country is that we get the wrong leaders or the wrong people for the right job. It begins with what we call political literacy. Politicians in this country have taken advantage of the political illiteracy amongst the Kenyan citizens. And that is why they manipulate the people and play those games and end up in those positions. Leadership is driven by what we call purpose. And the only sole purpose of leadership is nothing more than service to the people.
Service to the people.
Service to the people.
It's not about enriching yourself.
The biggest problem, this is a problem that did not start yesterday. There is a gentleman during Kenyatta's time, and his name was Ndegwa.
Duncan Ndegwa.
And he is the first person who suggested that the people in leadership can also transact into business
with government.
Exactly. And that is where the problem began. I will tell you today, out of 100% politicians in this country, 98% have gone there as a career.
Yes.
It is for their own
Yes.
income,
Yes.
not to serve the people.
Nothing to do with the people.
And that is where we go wrong. And that is why they have created a culture and they've monetized politics.
Yes.
In the sense that it is not about ideologies.
Yes.
In this country, we don't compete with ideas.
Yes.
We don't compete with great minds.
Yes.
We compete with what we can offer at that time.
Yes.
And because they offer the masses money and the masses lack political literacy,
Yes.
immediately they go into those offices.
Yes.
First, they need to recover the money they spent,
The money they spend.
and they need to steal enough
Yes.
for their future.
Yes.
But that is the biggest disease.
That we have.
And
in the
I'm
country.
saying that because we as a country, I as Steve Mbogo sitting here, there is one thing I've always been told again and again when we talk of the history of this country.
Yes.
And that is our forefathers
Yes.
shed blood
Yes.
for us to enjoy this sovereignty.
Yes.
Our forefathers fought and died, sacrificed for us to have this freedom.
Yes.
But it is very sad. The entire generation that is in this country today,
Yes.
we have become so comfortable.
Yes.
We have forgotten where we came from.
Yes.
And we clearly don't know where we are going.
Yes.
That we are ready to sacrifice our children and our future generation to subject them to abject poverty
Yes.
and abject social degradation
Yes.
just because of material.
Thank you, Steve. When I made a mention that I'm hosting Steve Mbogo, I was asked that Duncan, please ask this to Steve, and this is linked to your earlier submission.
Yes.
We had come up to the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
The Davos-based outfit.
Yes.
Speak to us. Is this part of the furtherance of the neo-colonization? This issue of when we began, we started as Organization of African Unity.
Yes.
It morphed, I think, in 2002.
Yes.
African Union. And back closer home,
Yes.
where we are a bit interested in,
Yes.
we started as East African Community with 3 nations.
Yes.
As late as last week, Ethiopia has hinted that you want to join to make it 9.
Yes.
Is this working towards that neo-colonialism agenda, or it's working against?
I will tell you one thing.
Yes.
These African organizations
Yes.
can only function
Yes.
if we have what we call originality.
Yes.
We cannot function while we are being driven by 2 foreign powers,
Yes.
the East and the West.
Yes.
If you look at Africa today, Africa is divided into 2 parts.
Yes.
For the last 40, 50 years,
Yes.
the majority of Africa was clinged to the West.
Yes.
But there is a new change in the game. The Eastern Bloc
Yes.
has come in with a very big force.
Yes.
And I'll tell you today as we speak in Africa,
Yes.
49 out of 55 countries
Yes.
are already into bilateral talks to
Yes.
work, agreements to work with China and India and Russia.
Yes.
They have moved from the West.
Yes.
When we talk of East Africa,
Yes.
we are talking of an East African bloc where we are supposed to speak the same language,
Yes.
for example, have the same school of thought,
Same currency.
have the same currency and agenda, even if it's not currency.
Yes.
But we should reason from the same school of thought
Yes.
that as a region, we need to propel and grow as one.
Yes.
In terms of our relationships, in terms of development, in terms of economy,
Yes.
in terms of social problems, we need to work together.
Yes.
But even in East Africa today, I will shock you.
Yes.
Out of all these countries, you mentioned 9 of them.
Yes.
It is only Kenya alone
Yes.
that has remained with the West.
Yes.
Our neighbors have moved to
To the east.
the East.
Yes.
In the last Russian summit, the entire all East African countries, the leaders visited Russia, apart from our own.
Yes.
And he could not go because his hands are tied.
They're tied.
Yes.
Because it's west looking.
He's fully clinging to the West, and it's because
Yes.
they're the ones in charge.
Yes.
He is their mini puppet.
Yes.
To put it in a clear word,
Yes.
without fear of contradiction. That is what it is.
Yes.
But as the president takes us to that direction, does he really know
Yes.
where these people are taking us? That is the big question. Because I've always told people,
Yes.
you keep blaming His Excellency William Samoei Ruto.
Yes.
But maybe he is also in a catch-22 situation where he does not know the real agenda with these people.
These guys.
I've told you, the main objective is to build a one world government.
Yes.
And in the entire Africa today,
Yes.
They have chosen Kenya to be the prototype for all this implementation.
No wonder the increased focus
on Kenya.
Would you say the recent emergence of quote unquote, for want of a better word, over taxation part of that wider scheme for the New World Order?
Of course. Now I'll take you through.
Yes.
For them to implement this, there are a few things they need to tackle.
Yes. Their strategy.
Number one, the strategy scheme now.
Yes.
Number one, these people realize that to begin with, for us to control the whole world, we have to control the numbers.
Yes. Population.
Yes. In 1992, more than 166 countries met under the UN, and they declared that the biggest pandemic or the biggest problem of the world is population.
Yes.
And they signed what we call the Depopulation Treaty.
Yes.
And that was now the initial introduction of these vaccines we have always been consuming. It is part of the depopulation campaign. Oh. It did not start yesterday.
It's their own way of family planning.
Yes.
Infusing family
planning. And that is when the family planning charters started. Yes. That is when the contraceptive ideology started.
Yes.
Which was part of population. Number two.
So that's why there was a heavy fund for financing of
population
planning as a component of health.
As a component. Yes. In fact, today, the biggest component of UN that is moving to Kenya, the entire office of United Nations Population Fund is what is coming here in Nairobi. In the name of, they want to help us be productive. Who told them we are not productive? We know what they've been doing to our women. We know what they've been doing to us. It's all about depopulation. And a time has reached where Kenyans who love this country, true Africans, who understand what is happening, to come out boldly and speak about these things. If people have decided they want to exterminate us, then what does it cost not to speak the truth and maybe save our children? Nothing. We cannot stop at nothing.
Was Corona and the Corona vaccine part of the wider scheme to achieve the objectives?
Now, I'm one person who relies on facts. Today, there is a very global discussion and findings that are very shocking. Number one, it has been proven that the countries with the highest vaccination rates have the highest mortality rates. That is information that is in the public domain. Number two, doctors have discovered that people who've been vaccinated are suffering
from the virus.
From the virus. I'm talking of the vaccine. The vaccine itself. People who've been vaccinated suffer around 4 major complications. Number one is immunology disorders. The immunity levels have drastically gone down. Number two is abnormal blood clots. Here in Kenya, if you talk to doctors, if you talk to people who conduct postmortems, out of 10 people who were vaccinated, 10 people were vaccinated. After postmortem, 9 to 10 are found with abnormal blood clots. These blood clots, upon further research, indicates that this vaccine is what we call an mRNA vaccine. It is a nanolipid protein vaccine. So what it does is, it does not leave the body. You know, normal people, when you have a blood clot, they can give you what we call, is it aspirin or what? It dissolves, it clears the blood clot. But this one does not clear because it is a protein pattern. It grows. And that's why when it goes now closer, the clot moves close to the heart. That's why so many people are suffering heart attacks. People who are very okay, people who are sportsmen and women, people who are very, very healthy are just collapsing and dying. It has been associated with the vaccine. Number three, issues of fertility. I'm talking of information that is here even within Kenya. Today, young girls as young as 28, 29, 25 are experiencing menopause.
At that young age?
Talk to doctors who conduct fertility tests. They will tell you one of the major complications today is pregnancy. Most of these girls, when they're pregnant, the fetus will just come out. It gets terminated. Now, or even the ability to be pregnant. I'm telling you today, I have friends, so many friends.
Yes.
All of us, we were vaccinated with things we didn't know.
Yes.
Things we did not know. And what hurts me more, so I said fertility, immune, blood clots, and the other one is vascular disorder. That is the veins now.
Yes.
That is another thing that has been discovered as a complication from people who have been vaccinated.
Yes.
Number two, just a month ago, the Red Cross issued a memo. And they said, Red Cross collects a lot of blood.
Yes.
What we call the blood bank through blood transfusion.
Yes.
So there are people who donate blood to go to the banks.
Yes.
Today, if you go online and say you want to donate blood, the first question is they will ask you if you're vaccinated.
Yes.
Now, people who are vaccinated, the Red Cross has clearly stated they are not eligible to donate blood.
Donate blood.
Do you know what that means? It means Red Cross itself knows that the blood from vaccinated people is not okay.
Yes.
The worst thing about this whole scenario today in Kenya, the government has been issuing memos to go, and the program has already started in Mount Kenya.
Yes.
To go and vaccinate school kids in school without even the parents' consent. I spoke to a leader, a member of parliament from Mount Kenya.
Yes.
And she told me, Mbogo, she saw one of my articles and she called me and told me, Mbogo, a week ago, I had about 50 women who came to my constituency office.
Yes.
And they were complaining that their children are being vaccinated, COVID jabs.
Yes.
Without
by force.
Even the teachers' consent. People from the Ministry of Health will walk in with people from World Health Organization.
There will be even a sensitization that in this date and this date we are running this kind of campaign.
But I have seen memos. They are there.
Yes.
From the county commander's office. I've seen for Kirinyaga, I've seen for Moranga, and I think for Kiambu, if I'm not wrong. Memos to state that because of the viruses, they are going to vaccinate school kids and people in churches, the vaccination drive. Now, if these things are causing such harm to our people, why do we then subject our poor children to be vaccinated on things that are not certain?
But did you take an opportunity to find out whether these calls from the area you're quoting, whether the leadership
I will shock you now.
Okay.
The Mheshimiwa told me, Steve, when those people came to my office, I picked the phone and called the governor and the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health under the CEC
at the county.
Health, the governor at the county was not aware of the program. Okay. So it is done by national government. Now, who have given these people the right to go and inject these kids? There are things as a country where it has reached. The decisions going forward, we must subject them to a referendum.
Yes.
You want to vaccinate us? Let us go for a referendum and vote. You want to create an open border policy? Let us go to a referendum and vote.
Yes.
You want to force digital identity on us? Let us go to the referendum and vote.
So speak to us about two things. One, the issue of digital identification cards.
Yes.
That is one.
Yes. I wanted to take you through for you to be easier, and I'll cover all that.
Okay.
So we have said, number one is depopulation. Yes?
Yes.
At least to reduce the numbers.
Yes.
They are saying in the agenda, and this information is there, go to the World Economic Forum and the United Nations website. They're saying for sustainable development goals, the whole world should have between 500 million to 1 billion maximum.
Out of the 8 billion.
Out of the 8.5 billion. So they're planning to kill 7.5 billion. And you people are keeping quiet.
That's why we have you.
My uncle called me asking me why I'm not scared. I told him even Jesus lived for 32 years. So anyone above 32 years is living a bonus life.
That is part.
Yes. It has reached a time where we have to be bold. There are people like us.
Yes.
Let me tell you, money cannot make any person superior than the other.
Ideally, it's not the amount of years you live, because Methuselah lived for almost 900 years.
Yes.
But people remember Jesus who lived for 32 years.
32 years. And the story will be there forever.
The legacy that
exactly.
Yes.
And he served what he served at that time.
Correct.
So you've depopulated.
Yes.
Number two, to control these people, what do? What is the main source of human control? Food.
Food.
And that is why today, in the whole world,
Yes.
the biggest attack on mankind is on food and agriculture. If you look at Kenya for the last 10 years,
Yes.
and going forward with this Kenya Kwanza government,
Yes.
I'll tell you majority of the bills that have been taken to parliament are to do with food and agriculture.
Yes.
Attack on food and agriculture came out of climate change.
Yes.
To make it now easy to fight the food.
Yes.
Under the World Economic Forum,
Yes.
they have clearly stated
Yes.
that food and agriculture,
Yes.
farming, is one of the major causes
Yes.
of climate change. Livestock farming and crop farming.
Yes.
They say crop farming and livestock farming release what you call, crop farming releases what you call greenhouse gases.
Yes.
Which release carbon in the air, and affect the
ozone layer.
The ozone layer and
yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Number two, they say animal farming. Animals such as cow, chicken, all those emit nitrogen in the air.
Yes.
So it also affects the ozone layer. But scientifically, many scientists are coming up and saying there is no any scientific proof that carbon changes the weather pattern or the heat on Earth.
Yes.
In fact, looking at the history of the world, 300, 400 years back,
Yes.
it is now evident that, in fact, the Earth is cooling down. It is not getting hot.
Contrary to the narrative.
The narrative.
Yes.
But I tend to believe, on my personal understanding,
yes,
that this is one of the greatest approach
yes,
to challenge food and agriculture.
Yes.
And at the same time, climate change is being used to challenge what we call energy.
Yes.
You control energy.
Yes.
You control food.
Yes.
You control humanity.
Humanity.
Today, we are being told fossil fuel
yes,
is one of the major causes, and people have to change from fossil fuel to electric.
Yes.
I'll tell you, the process of creating electric, even the mining process of creating batteries and all that,
yes,
it is still the same emission
yes,
compared to fossil fuel.
Fossil fuels.
But again, look at where fossil fuel exists.
Yes.
It is where their enemies are. We have fossil fuel in Africa,
yes,
in Russia,
yes,
in China,
yes,
and all the other states.
yes.
So we can see it as a push and pull tug war. And we have to speak about these things. Now, when you control the food, if you look at Kenya today,
yes,
you'll notice that so many policies
yes,
have been implemented. Number one, these policies, I personally started seeing very funny policies during Uhuru Kenyatta's time.
yes,
When Kinjuri was the Minister of Agriculture. He passed what you call the Agricultural Strategy Document
yes,
when he was the Minister. And one of the things they approved is certification of fortified foods. Fortified foods, these are foods made from chemical nutrients.
yes,
So to substitute organic food and start feeding us on food made from chemical nutrients.
yes,
When you do a deep research on fortified foods,
yes,
most of them are processed using chemical herbicides and pesticides.
yes,
So at the end of the day, these are things that have effects on us.
on us.
Number two, during Kinjuri's time, they brought in policies that will ensure control of seeds.
Okay.
They brought in multinational companies such as
Yes.
Monsanto, Syngenta, and all those. And they were given rights to patent their seeds. Today, my brother,
Yes.
in this country,
Yes.
it is illegal for you to share seeds with your neighbor.
Oh.
When you hear the government saying there's fake seeds, now the organic seeds are the ones which have been named fake seeds.
Yes.
They want you to plant the seeds that are sold by these globalist organizations.
Yes.
Monsanto and the rest. They're the ones who are selling the seeds. And you'll agree with me that for the last 2-3 years, the story of fake seeds have been everywhere.
Yes.
When this government came in, that's when we saw the acceleration of genetically modified foods.
Hang on that point. We'll have to take a short break.
Yes.
When you come back, it will be home stretch.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our viewers. For those who continue to tuning in, we thank you so much. And we ask those who are tuning for the first time to kindly subscribe for this show, The Point, where we bring to you informed conversations that impact our lives. And we ask ourselves, why does it concern us? Why does it concern us? And today we have a very interesting conversation with none other than Steve Mbogo, who's been talking to us about the concept, the idea of the New World Order. But before we continue with Steve, we would like to inform you that please subscribe and support this program. And this particular show is powered by none other than Quad Bike World. They're located along Mudangari Road along Lavington. And for them, if you're interested in quad bikes, kids, scooters, dirt bikes, electric quads, they are the right people to go to. Fairly affordable prices, very well in terms of management. They don't leave you alone once you purchase the quad bikes. They even follow you and support you through the maintenance. Otherwise, thank you for the show and support us through subscribing. Mheshimiwa, asante.
Thank you.
Earlier on, before we went to the break,
yes,
you were deconstructing and telling us
the stages,
some of the strategies and the stages that
yes,
the globalists are using to perpetuate
yes,
their own new world agenda.
Yes.
Please take it away.
So I was in the bit of food.
Yes.
Now you'll notice that so many policies have been implemented,
yes,
to do with food.
Yes.
But food and agriculture.
Yes.
But remember, these policies are policies that are pushing farmers to the wall.
Yes.
And the main ideology
yes,
is that in the New World Order,
yes,
they have stated clearly that the entire farming sector and
yes,
food production
yes,
shall be controlled by corporations. So their main intention
yes,
is to take over the entire agricultural land,
yes,
and private property from citizens to corporations.
Why do you have a feeling you are talking about affordable housing?
Now, what do you do
Yes.
once you take over the land of farmers?
You build
You put them in what you call concentration camps.
camps, yes, and you pay them some token.
And some token.
Yes.
And that is why the Kenyan government and the president has said it again and again.
Yes.
That mpende msipende, the housing project must continue.
Yes.
No Kenyan, no sane Kenyan can explain to you the sanity
Yes.
of the housing project.
Yes.
Because to begin with, it is not our ideology or our project.
Yes.
Even the drawings,
Yes.
even the narrative,
Yes.
the arithmetics, the data for the housing project is given by the IMF. It is not the president. It is not our, even as much as it was in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto,
Yes.
the current housing projects they are doing, and that's why many people are asking, how do you come and tell me that as a citizen I can own a private apartment
Yes.
on public land? Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
These people are taking land from the public
For free,
for free.
for that matter.
They are asking all Kenyans to contribute to a levy,
Yes.
whereas most of us don't need the houses.
Yes.
And they're selling the houses at the current market price.
Yes.
So who is fooling who?
And they're calling it affordable.
And they're calling it affordable.
To who?
But they come back with a sweet word and they say,
Yes.
the majority of the project will not be for sale.
Yes.
It will be for social.
Housing.
So who are these social people who are going to benefit? It is the people who are going to surrender their land. I will tell you today, under the UN Charter,
Yes.
many countries,
Yes.
and I know Kenya is one of them, they've already signed
Yes.
to surrender 30% of their land to the UN under climate change for conservation.
Yes.
So you'll wake up one morning and you'll be told areas of people, let's say for example from Muranga or Kirinyaga,
Yes.
from next month or in the next 6 months,
Yes.
you will all relocate and move to this affordable housing because the entire area has been chosen for conservancy under climate change. You and I know today that there is a bill in parliament that approves and stamps the compulsory acquisition of land by the government. You and I know that there is a bill being taken to parliament to introduce levies to freehold property. Those punitive measures are meant to cripple us. And that is why we've been seeing punitive economic policies in this country for the last 10 years till now. It is not done by design. The president himself has stood in front of Kenya many times and he has said it is time. We need to free up land for farming and move to towns. Let me ask you, If you're talking of affordable housing, majority of the poor people are in the villages.
Yes.
Why are they not building in the villages? Why are they putting them in concentrated town centers? In a radius of 15 minutes to run from one town, one housing project to another. That's where now you go back, and read about what we call the smart cities or the 15-minute cities under the New World Order. It is meant for total control. Their policy states that you will own nothing and be happy.
Also, it's possible to be happy while you own nothing. That is the narrative.
That is the narrative, because they want to take over ownership of any property, motor vehicle, land, farming, from individuals to corporations. Because with the fourth industrial revolution emanating today, we have transited to the fourth industrial revolution, which is the revolution of artificial intelligence. Science tells us today that in the next 10 years, in the next period of between 10 to 30 to 40 years, they will not need human beings anymore.
Robots.
Because robots will be doing everything.
Over,
Robots will be doing everything. So they are bringing a system where they're saying they will rate people and create what to call social credit scores. Where now the more you behave, the more you have good credit scores, and they will create what to call a universal pay system. So you will not be working. You will be in your camps. That is their agenda. You see, it's good to know. And I'm telling Kenyans,
you'll be owning nothing. But
and you are happy because you're paid and you live in that jail. And subjected to vaccines every now and then. Today, the biggest challenge of WHO is on forcing countries to sign what to call the pandemic agreement. Do you know what the pandemic agreement is? It gives the World Health Organization 100% powers over the sovereignty of the country. So today, WHO, if we sign the agreement, we'll come to Kenya and say, we suspect there is a virus flowing and we all have to go into lockdown. And the government cannot say anything.
Recently, the president talked about establishing a vaccine plant that could be able to manufacture our own plant here locally. Is that part of the...
It is part of the agenda. And I've told you, they have set home in Kenya. We are at a very great risk. Very, very great risk. Today, if you go to the Eastern Bypass, there is a very big storage facility called SSL. It is the biggest cold storage facility in Eastern Central Africa. Today, it has fully been taken over by WHO. If you go there, it's branded World Health Organization. Do you know what's inside there? It's full of vaccines. And that's why our kids have started being vaccinated without our consent. So as a country, we are busy debating who, this one is stealing this one is stealing that, but we are in much bigger, deeper problems than what we think.
So do you think these weekly narratives that are being peddled around are just meant to confuse us?
Of course.
The real thing is happening.
Do you find it normal that doctors can be on strike for about a month and the president is quiet? Do you find it normal?
It ought not.
Do you find it normal?
It's not normal, because
when the basic structures or basic institutions that govern or run a country are being driven to oblivion, medical sector is going down, education sector is going down. Look at transport and logistics today. As in, every system in this country is breaking down. Every system is breaking down. But they have been trained on what I will call PR stunts. Today we are meant to believe that the economy is growing. But for people who understand economics, people who are exposed, and people who read, you'll agree with me that all that is being said and done by this current government and even the World Bank about Kenya is pure sugarcoating. Economies are grown just the same way you grow a business. It's all about income and outcome. We are importing more than we are exporting. So where are we getting money? The president is sinking us more and more into debt. My brother, between you and me, have they ever told us the agreements they are signing with these multinational corporations such as IMF, what is the guarantee of them giving us the loan? I remember we even asked for the loan, the Chinese loan, to be shown the contract.
Yes.
It has never been made public.
Even despite them undertaking that.
It has never been made public.
Yes.
Now, these loans the president is taking, including the domestic debt, which is illegal.
Yes.
The constitution says you cannot borrow domestically for development.
Okay.
You cannot.
What I know, and I stand to be corrected. What I know is that the constitution talks about you cannot borrow for recurrent purposes, but you can borrow for development purposes. But the other challenge is that that borrowing, even if it's local, is not supposed to crowd out domestic economic development, because when you borrow domestically, you are crowding out from businesses.
So the banks will lend the government and not lend
and individuals would be denied a chance to access.
And that is what is happening now.
Yes.
But the constitution states clearly, loans for the borrowing for development can only be borrowed from external debt. And it clearly states, they are mentioned in our constitution, the Paris Club, all of them are mentioned. Domestic debt can only be borrowed for emergencies, and it is for short period of time, must be paid within, I think, 9 months. And it cannot be more than 5% of the total budget. But you and I will agree that since Uhuru took power till today, by the time he was leaving office, out of 8.5 trillion, only 2 trillion was approved by Parliament. Where did the 6 trillion go? Now, my brother, do you think it is normal for people to go and borrow money illegally against the constitution and subject us to pay that money, and we're just quiet? Is it normal?
It's not normal, but there are attempts. My reading of valuable literature suggests that the people of Mozambique went to their constitutional court and have the odious debt.
Exactly. It was called the Tuna Bond.
Yes, the Tuna Bond was declared as an odious debt.
Yes.
And therefore the country was asked not to pay.
Not to pay.
Back home, Senator Okia Omtata attempted the same.
Yes.
But now the challenge with our case compared to the Tuna Bond, our case is, it might be almost difficult to clearly pinpoint that this was odious debt and this was sovereign debt. So that is the only dynamic that we have, that if it could be ascertained that ideally this is sovereign debt and this is odious debt, then that we can have that conversation.
I will tell you the truth. It is not that it's difficult. It's only because we live in a society where everyone has a price. Between you and me, we've been reading reports from even the Auditor General. Leave alone the current, even the old one.
Yes.
Ouko stated clearly that majority of the loan that has been taken in this country, till to date, it has not been attached to even the projects it has done.
Bring it home. The reports available, the OAG's report is very clear that not even the 2014 Eurobond, part of it could not be accounted for.
Only 100 billion came here. So the other 100 billion did not go.
So from a governance perspective, it doesn't inspire hope that why would we continue borrowing more if
we cannot manage,
we cannot account for.
Exactly.
And do you think the fact that our lenders are ready to lend money to us also speaks to the bigger, wider scheme for new world order?
Of course. Who is lending money today? Who is giving us money? It's the West.
The West.
We have moved from Chinese bonds and Japanese bonds. Now we are getting money from the West. The West is giving us money, a loan to pay a loan. We are sinking more deeper. And that's why I'm asking a very simple question. What are these agreements? What is the collateral? Because there's no one who gives you money without a collateral. I'll give you an example. The American government, the IMF, has been very supportive in the Ukraine-Russian war. The American government signed contracts with Ukraine government that this money is not a gift, it is a loan. Do you know what the guarantee was? To surrender all state corporations and the entire farming land as the collateral. Today, largest organizations in the world from America, and those are the people spearheading the New World Order, have already purchased 30 to 40% of all those properties in Ukraine. And it is coming here. And that is why you had the president, the first things they did is they gazetted all these state corporations for sale. And they said, we have people who are ready to buy
them.
Are you getting where we are heading to? So these agreements, we want to know what they are signing. And I'm 100% sure these people, the agreements are towards farming land, and state corporations.
Yes.
And they should come out clear and tell us.
Yes.
Because where we've reached as a country, today in this country, the government and the opposition are in the same bed.
Yes.
We have been controlled by a political system that was created in 1963.
Over 60 years.
And these are the same monkeys in the same forest.
Yes.
But a time has come for us to say enough is enough. We as Kenyans, and we have already seen it happening with the doctors.
Yes.
We are now going to practice what we call self-preservation.
Yes.
Because we have no one to speak on our behalf.
Yes.
A wrong is a wrong. It is time to call a spade and not a big spoon.
Yes.
And we are doing this for the sake of our children.
Yes. And the
for the
of
sake of our generation.
Yes.
For the sake of patriotism of this country.
Yes.
We are going to stand firm. We will raise our voices.
Yes.
We are amongst the few who cannot be bought.
Yes.
We are driven by purpose in life.
So you're saying this new world order is not a conspiracy theory, it is a reality.
It is a reality. Go do your research. Today, the entire...
I'm asking this for the benefit of my viewers.
Yes, go do your research.
Yes.
For the last 2, 3, almost 1.5 months,
Yes.
the entire farmers of Germany,
Yes.
Holland, Spain,
Yes.
Belgium, the entire Europe,
Yes.
they've been demonstrating in the streets. Why? Same punitive measures were put to them as a joke,
Yes.
and it came to a reality. Do you know that in Holland today,
Yes.
ownership of property has fully been transferred to the corporations and not farmers? Attack on farming, attack on organic farmers, attack on livestock farming.
Yes.
Until they've said enough is enough and they're on the streets. It's only that the mainstream media is, most of those mainstream medias are also owned and controlled by the same corporations.
2 years ago, I went to some excursion in Western Kenya.
Yes.
In one of the universities in Western Kenya.
Yes.
And during breakfast, we were served some very beautiful, nice biscuits.
Yes.
I was surprised they were made from crickets.
Yes.
And I was told it's a World Bank funded, EU funded project towards food resilience.
Exactly.
So should we take it for what it is, or such initiatives have more than we're being told?
I'm glad you brought that topic because
and I brought a pack home.
Yes.
But it's well labeled and has cricket all over. Yes. But I knew if I had showed my people, they will not eat. I allowed them to eat. Yes. Once they're finished, they asked for more. Then when I showed them the box, I was almost chased from that house.
Yes. Now, under their Sustainable Development Goals agenda, they're saying there will be a substitute of food.
Yes.
And they want to move from organic feeds to fortified foods or feeding of the new type of food such as insects, bugs, and crickets.
Yes.
Today, a country like Poland have already signed a treaty to kill more than 40,000 cows. Livestock farming is becoming illegal, and that's why in Kenya today you're being told you have to register if you have a cow or chicken. You know, governments move slowly. What they are doing is they are collecting data to know which house has a car. And that thing started during Huduma number. You are being asked how many cows and cattle, sheep do you have. People didn't know what was happening. And even our leaders here, most of the things they are formulating, they do not know.
Even majority of those in leadership,
they don't know.
We agree that we have scarcity of leaders.
Let me ask you, 2 weeks ago, we saw a number of MPs from Mount Kenya going to demonstrate with avocado farmers. And yet they are the same people who passed their bill. And they confess and say, we had not read it. We are given instructions.
We were told to pass.
And that's why for Kenya now we need to move to self-preservation, because if one opposition leader and one leader in government control the entire parliament, it means we are perforated. We have no one to... Yes, maybe the courts can save us. But before we reach to the courts, this is our country. I am telling you, there's no person bigger than you and I. We are all Kenyans by birth. We are patriots of this country. We need Kenya. Kenya is our business, and our business is Kenya.
You are aware.
Crickets and insects. It is not a program that started yesterday. I'm glad you.
Yes, I went. I was even talking to their lab and the entire process.
The program started here in JKUAT University by one doctor called Kinjuru, Dr. John Kinjuru. And I repeat again, and I will tell him. And he specifically quotes and says, their formulation today in Kenya is through school feeding programs, because they say kids have not yet formed a thinking towards food. So it's easy to
There are no
convince
biases.
there are no biases.
Yes.
So who have given them the right to feed our kids on insects? Well, we can plant good organic food out here. What do we? What are those chemicals they are using in these fortified foods?
Yes.
So these are the questions we should be asking ourselves. Let us not just focus on economy,
Yes.
while we are being killed in broad light.
At the risk of digressing,
Yes.
now that we're talking about food as a tool being used by the globalists,
Yes.
dish in a county. Our kids safe through the dish in a county project?
I will tell you, I have not done an independent research.
Yes.
But I listened to the Nairobi senator.
Yes.
One smart
Sifuna.
young man, Edwin Sifuna.
Yes.
He had a podcast the other day.
Yes, with the mic check.
Yes, and he said one of the funniest thing he noticed is that even the rice in itself
is from India. He said so. I had him say
is not normal rice.
Yes, I had him say
so. What are these things? And the one spearheading the insect agenda and the food replacement scheme in Kenya,
substitute,
yes, says clearly. And by the way, there was a very big forum in Nairobi 3 weeks ago to encourage fortified foods among schools, and they're saying they will make it a law that our kids will be fed on those insects and those fortified foods.
Yes. They say they are rich in proteins.
Can you imagine? So we don't feed them real protein from our chicken and our beans. Now we start feeding them insects.
Yes.
And those insects, those preservatives, those food fortification done on it, we don't know the chemicals they are using.
So are you saying if I go to supermarket and find a fortified unga, I should not go near it?
My brother, you know, one thing that can never lie is information.
Yes.
The information is out there. Let Kenyans go read about fortified foods.
Yes.
Let them understand the difference between organic food and fortified foods and genetically modified foods.
Yes.
The GMO agriculture in itself, you and I cannot manage it. It is very expensive.
Yes.
And once you plant a GMO plant, for example, tomato seeds, you cannot replant it.
Yes.
A kilo of GMO seeds, tomato seeds, the cheapest will go between 10 to 15 million. Can your grandmother in the village afford that?
They can't afford that.
What will they do next? They'll surrender the land. If you plant GMO seeds on this ground today, in the next season, you can never plant organic. They cannot grow. And you have to go to the same corporation to buy the seeds. And that's why they patented their companies. That is why Bill Gates came to Kenya. Immediately Ruto became president. He was the first VIP to come here.
So they get hold of agriculture,
health, food, health.
Yes.
Then now once you've captured these things, what do you need next? You need now to control individuals.
Yes.
And how do you control individuals?
Yes.
It is through the introduction of what we call digital identity. The digital ID and the digital passport will be attached to what you call the new system of money, which is called the central bank digital currencies, CBDCs.
Which works like a Bitcoin currency.
Exactly. So they are going to phase out the dollar and this banking system we use, and we go digital. Because they said, you know, credit cards can be manipulated, bank transfers can be, you know, there's counterfeit and stuff. But with digital central bank digital currencies, they will know each movement of money. They will control all your consumption, all your usage of money with a flick of a finger.
Is encouragement of border porosity, for instance, recently last week, the president, while attending an iftar, he said that he has removed the vetting in the frontier districts that we used to be there as a control measure for ensuring that we give only bona fide Kenyans ID. Is that uncontrolled border porosity also part of this wider scheme towards achieving this neo-colonial order?
The New World Order comes with a term, and they define themselves as what you call liberals. That they are open to everyone. And that is why today you'll notice there is porous borders across Europe and America at a level that has never been seen
before.
And the funny thing is that those immigrants are being funded by the same organizations, the UN, the IMF, the World Bank, and the largest organizations such as Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. They are the organizations funding these people to come into America. One policy about life is that the moment you open up your border or leave your house door open, wrong or bad people are prone to come in. So security in one way or another is compromised.
Yes.
So we are seeing a scenario where they are opening up the borders intentionally,
yes,
to compromise the security, and then now fully actualize what you call the digital identity.
Yes.
Because if we start being attacked, and we've started seeing them,
it's a man-made crisis.
Yeah,
that they also want.
It's a man-made crisis,
a solution for it,
and we have a solution.
Yes.
And the solution is now we need to put digital identity so that we know who is the good person and the bad person.
Yes.
So it is also a scheme.
So it starts from far.
Governments operate. These are things, I'm telling you, it's an agenda that has been planned from 1946.
So in government, nothing happens by default.
Yes.
It's by design always.
If you want to know where the country is heading to, look at two things.
Yes.
Policies implemented,
yes,
and the words they speak.
Yes.
Listen to the words your leaders say, and listen to the policies being formulated.
Yes.
Same as your own life.
Yes.
You govern your life by the policies you put on yourself.
Yes.
You govern your home by the policies you put in your home. You govern your children and your family in the policies you implement to them.
Yes.
If you are a strict and a straightforward father,
yes,
the policies will guide the family to prosperity.
that is true.
If you are shrewd and not straight,
That's what they'll pick up.
it is doomed to fail.
Yes.
That is the same as a country. But I don't know what is happening in this country. It's like Kenyans have been synchronized to focus on the wrong things, and they're forgetting their key role, number one, which is patriotism to this motherland.
Yes.
We all live here, and our main objective, can you imagine that one day we will be infinite?
Yes.
You will not be there, or I may not be there.
We won't be there, yes. That is as sure as day and night.
Not even this time.
Yes.
I will carry it to the grave.
Yes.
But today, the Western systems and the brainwash that is in our system, we have monetized everything to an extent we are preying on ourselves.
Yes.
We live to ensure that we leave this country better than we found it. I started by telling you our forefathers died for us to have this freedom.
Yes.
They left Kenya better than they found it. Please, fellow Kenyans, let us not leave this country worse than we found it.
You as we head towards wrapping up, you said that even at the ballot, even this thing we are calling democracy, electoral democracy, at the risk of lacking a better word, we would say it is kind of controlled externally.
Yes.
Is there hope for Kenyans to continue going to the ballot in light of all this conversation, given that
I think behind any prosperity, there is a challenge.
Yes.
One thing I'm positive and I'm happy is that the development of issues from the last elections till now, Kenyans have started opening up their minds and understanding what leadership is.
Yes.
We've been divided by these political cocoons and psychophancy.
Yes.
And we've made politicians demigods. We worship them. To an extent, 3,000-4,000 people want to reign over 50 million people. That we will live, they will dictate how we live, where we live, how we should live. And yet we are guided by the holy book of the motherland, which is the Constitution. We are only supposed to be guided by the Constitution and nothing else and no one else apart from God the Creator. And with God's law, it's all about humanity. So if we reach a level where our leaders are sacrificing their own, then what is the difference between now and the colonial times, where you say the tribal chiefs were selling people in Africa, in Western Africa, to be slaves? This is even worse. It is worse than that.
The olden days slaves.
Yes.
Thank you. Two things. One is in 2018, someone told me when I was having a conversation with someone that the moment you see Senator Kun, Senator Kun is the Senator for Delaware.
Chris Kun.
Yes. The moment you see Senator Kun in town, no, there is some Western agenda being orchestrated.
100%.
And no sooner had they left than the handshake was born.
Yes.
Early in late last year,
Yes.
November to be precise, Senator Kun was in town.
During Maandamano.
Yes, he was in town.
Yes.
And the same person told me,
Yes.
our big brother Kun is around.
Yes.
So it won't get to June next year before we hear something. Is this clamor to take the Honorable Raila Odinga to AU part of that wider scheme of remote controlling Kenya from the Western powers?
Of course, they don't want Raila anywhere close to the opposition leadership because he's proven to be the biggest threat. And he will lose that seat.
Why do you say he will lose the seat?
Arithmetic and reality, he will lose it. And I promised him I'll give him 10 million shillings.
If he wins?
Yes, he will lose it.
The Honorable Raila Odinga...
2 days ago...
The Honorable Raila Odinga, should you become the AU Commission Chair, please, we will bring 10 million through Mheshimiwa Steve Mboko.
100%. He should just send me his account.
In broad daylight that he has 10 million for you. All you need to do is one job. Ensure you get the job, you get the AU chairmanship.
You see, the biggest disease we have in this country is what we call escapism.
Yes.
Escaping from the reality.
Yes.
I was in ODM. I was a NEC member.
Yes.
I was the first person to protest against BBI.
Yes.
And I told them this is a merry-go-round. And it is meant to waste Baba's time.
Yes.
He did not listen.
Yes.
Because people like us, we didn't have a voice. And we still don't have the voice that many people can hear. For those with ears
to hear,
will hear.
Yes.
I was the first person to tell them in the NEC meeting that I know Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yes.
He's from Mount Kenya like me.
Yes.
And I told Raila 2 years to elections, Uhuru Kenyatta will never take you even to Githurai.
Yes.
He did not take him. Did he take him?
No, he didn't.
It was all a long con.
Yes.
And the con is carrying on. 2 days ago, the foreign minister of Djibouti has joined the race.
Yes,
now, can I shock you?
Yes.
Wait another 2-3 weeks. The foreign minister of Mauritius is also joining. And is part of the East African bloc.
Yes.
Part of the West is also saying we cannot trust Raila.
Yes.
He's a former communist. Majority of Africa has moved to the West, the East, China and Russia. China and Russia also want a hand in the AUC seat.
Yes.
Do you think those 49 countries who support the East will vote for someone who is seconded by a country controlled by the West? Raila is not going as Raila Odinga Baba Yetu. He is going as Kenya.
Yes.
And Kenya has been branded the puppet of the West.
Yeah, the pro-West.
So who will vote for you? In 2017, when we had the best relationship with the East Africa, the whole East Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, Djibouti, they all did not vote for Amina Mohammed.
Yes.
And we had the best relationship.
What perfect chance of
yes.
the seat.
So what makes you think they will vote for Raila now? So, and now is when we have problems with all these countries.
So this is what is emboldening you to say that should he win, you will give him 10 million.
Because I want to tell him these people are wasting your time. They are lying to you.
Yes.
You see, the political conmanship in our political system is beyond anyone's imagination, my brother. I'll tell you the truth.
Yes.
I've said we have been so materialized that we prey on each other. I speak to many leaders even in opposition. Majority of them are praying for Raila to go.
Yes.
Because he's their stumble block.
Yes.
You think they love him, but they're saying let Muze go.
Yes.
And they're saying, Steve, what you're saying is true. Muze will not get it. But the good thing, by that time, he will lose the ground, which is true. So the winner will be Ruto.
Yes.
He will come out and say, Kenyans, I told you.
Yes.
That Raila, I am supporting him. You saw me move all over Africa trying to campaign for this Muze.
Yes.
But Muze cannot be sold. By that time, the entire Azimio brigade is broken. Look at Azimio today.
Yes.
Mount Kenya leaders are looking for their own way. Kalonzo, Eugene Omalwa are looking for their own way. ODM in itself, they are up on their shirts. I heard Raila saying, you want to inherit and the husband is still alive.
Yes.
You know, there's no way your kids or your brothers will start fighting for your property and your life if they like you.
Yes.
So you understand the political conmanship.
I get.
So even Raila himself, they do not love that Muze because they don't tell him the truth.
Yes.
If you love someone, if you're genuine to someone, it begins by being open and genuine to them.
That's true.
Yes.
As we wind up, some are saying Steve Mboko is saying what he's saying because he wants attention. Which attention do you want?
I want attention. Very true. I want big attention because
you don't want to be bored.
No. I want Kenyans to fully understand what's happening in this country.
Yes.
And I want 100% attention.
Yes.
Because it seems that I'm the only person who is fighting for what is right for this country.
Yes.
And I'm not asking and speaking like this because I need a political seat.
Yes.
Last elections, I had all it takes to win the Starehe seat.
Yes.
They came begging me. All the big parties came begging me.
Yes.
Mbogo, please take the ticket. Go take that seat for us. I opted not to. Because I'm purpose driven.
Yes.
I am not a political entrepreneur.
Yes.
I have never transacted with government. I don't make my money through political affiliation.
Yes.
I've never even supplied a toothpick to the government. I know how to make my small money here and there.
Yes.
And I know that if we have the right leadership in this country,
yes,
you and I will prosper.
Yes.
That is all we are crying for. That is all I am talking about.
Yes.
That is why I have always involved myself in national politics.
Yes.
Because we want rightful leadership in this country. And that's the only reason. Not because I am here to campaign, I want to be an MP or a senator or a governor. No, no, no. In fact,
yes,
if there's any Kenyan who has a good political party vehicle and willing to team with us young leaders with the zeal and the zest, I'm ready to marshal finances and resources so that we can put the rightful leaders in this country and create change from within.
Yes.
I will personally not vie.
The last question I was asked to ask you.
Yes.
And this is I'm doing with the tremendous respect. I was asked to ask Steve, what is his opinion about wash, and is he a wash? Have you made your money through wash? You
see, that's a very good topic.
Yes.
And it starts with what you call the culture in this country.
Yes.
We live in a country whereby the culture is so clear that if you're not from a big family, or you're not from a big government position, you're not supposed to make money.
Yes.
I want to tell Kenyans, I, Steve Mbogo, and my history is clear.
Yes.
I started paying my school fees from Form 3 in the year 2003.
Yes.
I started selling scrap metals.
Scrap metals.
I had my first million before I cleared Form 4, 1.6 million from my savings of selling scrap metals. Living in the ghetto, in the shanty. We don't talk about these things because I don't need people's sympathy.
Yes.
I have been in business for all those years.
Yes.
I have been in business from all those years. We're talking close to 20 years.
Yes.
Do you think with my brains I will fail? If I had any issue, have I ever been convicted? No. Have I ever been charged and convicted for offending anyone?
No.
So that negativity is what drives us back.
Yes.
Who are the people we're praising in this country? The thieves who are stealing my taxes and your taxes.
Yes.
The people who are supplying government offices water worth 50 shillings, they supply it at 1,000 and we are calling them bosses.
Yes.
That those people are very smart. Those are the thieves.
Yes.
The worst thing is they steal from us and they hide the money in abroad.
Yes.
I, Steve Mbogo, I'm one of the few Kenyans who have brought in foreign currency in this country.
Yes.
From the time I started trading.
Yes.
Until now. I trade abroad. We bring in currency. That's how you build an economy. We bring in foreign currency in this country.
Yes.
When you bring in foreign currency, the shilling, the exchange rate stabilizes or grows, becomes stronger.
Yes.
We are the people who are supposed to be celebrated, my brother.
Okay.
Not given those shoddy names. And nothing can stop us.
Thank you.
We will change this country.
Asante.
Yes.
Asante. Mara ya mwisho umekuwa sana ukiguzia hii swala la vikaragosi.
Yes.
Na unasema kwamba baadhi ya viongozi wetu ni vikaragosi.
Yes.
Na wanatumiwa na wadhalimu ambao walitukoloni.
Yes.
Kwa hiyo unaposema kwamba hawa vikaragosi bado wako na bado watakuwa hadi ule wakati wa Kenya watainuka na waseme kwamba tumechoshwa na kuongozwa na vikaragosi.
Yes.
Kwa mtazamo wako, nchi yetu ya Kenya iko katika njia panda ama iko katika njia shwari maendeleo na mabadiliko? Na ni lipi ambalo ungeonelea lifanywe na wananchi kwa jumla ili tubadilishe mkondo wa mambo endapo mambo hayaendi sawa?
Nita summarize kwa neno moja tu.
Naam.
Change katika nchi yote.
Mabadiliko.
Mabadiliko katika nchi yote inaletwa na mtu mmoja tu. Kenya hii ikipata rais ambaye anaelewa, ambaye anapenda nchi hii, ambaye ana ideas na know-how ya kupeleka nchi hii mbele, Kenya itabadilika. It is just the same, ni sawa na nyumba yako. Ukiwa kwa nyumba ambayo baba ana ukora, na kuambia watoto mpaka ile umbwa yako inakuwa na ukora. Lakini ukiwa kwa nyumba ambayo baba ana maadili za kuendeleza maisha ya watoto na familia mbele, watoto pia wananyooka. If the leader, kiongozi wa nchi, does not follow the rule of law, mimi na wewe ni nani tuifuate? Yes. And that is why unaona nchi hii kila system inavunjika. Mkenya yoyote akipata mahali ya kuiba anaiba. Kwa sababu tumeonyeshwa for the last 10-12 years. Wewe bora uko na pesa uko sawa.
Kwa kumalizia, Wakenya watazamie nini? Watazamie siku moja kutakuwa na Rais Steve Mbogo ama kutakuwa na Gavana Steve Mbogo? Kwa sababu mzee hayati Julius Kabarage Nyerere kasema nia ipo, sababu zipo, uwezo upo. Je, una nia kuwa rais? Kwa sababu uwezo na sababu zipo. Una nia?
Kusema kweli siwezi kataa na siwezi kosa nia. Lakini kukapatikana mtu ambaye ana maadili mema kuniliko mimi, niko hiari kumuunga mkono. Nimeunga wengi sana mkono. Sipendi kutaja majina. Kuanzia mwaka 2008 nikiwa na miaka 20. Wabunge wengi wako bunge, mimi ndio niliwa support financially. Sababu tulianza kutengeneza pesa tukiwa wadogo. Tumekuwa katika hii mchezo kwa muda kwa sababu tunatamani mabadiliko. Sio sababu tunataka tufanye kazi na biashara. Na yeyote ambaye anafikiri mimi nishaifanya hata biashara hata moja nikapata ndururu kutoka serikali akuje aseme nilifanya.
Kwa hiyo wewe azma yako na ari yako ni kuona kwamba wananchi wanapata huduma bora, wanaongozwa, kuna utawala bora.
Ndiyo.
Na kwa kuzingatia haki za kibinadamu bila kumdhulumu mtu yeyote.
Na hiyo ndio msimamo wangu.
Naam.
Tuache Kenya yetu ikiwa katika condition nzuri kuliko vile tuliipata. Ndugu yangu, mimi nilibarikiwa na nilianza kusafiri nikiwa mdogo sana.
Unaposema kusafiri nje ya nchi. Naam.
Hapa tumeketi leo, nafikiri nimezuru nchi zaidi ya 70, hata mingi kuliko rais wenu. Zaidi ya 70. Naweza kutajia ABCD. Na nina wafanyabiashara na marafiki kote. Ndugu yangu, katika hiyo miaka ya kusafiri nimeona manchi zikibadilika. Nimeona manchi, unaambiwa nchi kama Dubai miaka 50 iliyopita ilikuwa desert tu. Leo Dubai ndio nchi kila mtu hata Muamerika anatamani kwenda. Nimeona manchi, unaambiwa China, economy ya China mwaka 1982. Economy ya Kenya na Tanzania ilikuwa bora kuliko ya China. Lakini leo China ndio the fastest growing economy in the world. Tunaambiwa economy ya Malaysia na Singapore mwaka 1983 ilikuwa same na ya Kenya. Walituachia wapi?
Swali nzuri sana.
Walituachia wapi?
Swali nzuri sana Bwana Steve. Waswahili husema papo kwa papo kamba ukatajiwe. Kwa hiyo hakuna lililogumu. Tukiwa na imani kama Wakenya, unatushauri kwamba inawezekana? Inawezekana tena sana. Nataka utazame kamera hii na uzungumze na Wakenya. Wale wote ambao utachagua. Uwape imani na uwape mshawasho. Washawishi kwamba pale tulipo, kufuatia mazungumzo yetu, pale tulipo ni pazuri ama ni pabaya, na iwapo ni pabaya tunapaswa kufanya lipi kama Wakenya ili tujikwamue na tujinasue katika huo mtego ambao tuko. Kazi kwako. Kwa kutumia fumbo nitasema, naam, hakuna mkate ngumu mbele ya chai. Waswahili wanasema hamna mkate ngumu mbele ya chai. Naam. Wananchi sisi ni chai. Naam. Na mashida na challenges ambayo tunapitia ni kama hiyo aina ya mikate. Hakuna ile mkate inaweza kushinda kuyeyusha. Katika maisha, mimi ni mtu mmoja naamini ya kwamba hakuna kupoteza. Kwa maisha ni either umeshinda au umesoma, umejifunza. In English I will say in life there is no losing. You either win or you learn. Correct. Wakenya tujishike masikio. Funzo ambayo tunapitia sahi, it is by purpose. Mahali yote kuna mafanikio, kulikuwa na challenges kubwa sana. Asante. Kwa hivyo Wakenya tuangalie mbele, tujishike masikio, na chochote tunachofanya tukae tukijua cha muhimu zaidi ya yote ni nchi yetu na watoto ambao tunakuza. Kizazi ambayo tunakuza ya kesho ndio muhimu kuliko sisi ambao tuko leo. Tusikubali kuachia hawa watoto shida ambazo mababu wetu
walimwaga damu kutuachia nchi yenye furaha, yenye amani, yenye mafanikio kama Kenya hii yetu.
Asante.
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 Thank you.
Wanaosema kilicho na mwanzo sharti kiwe na mwisho. Tunashukuru wote waliowezesha kipindi hiki, kuanzia nahodha wa kipindi, wazalishaji wa kipindi, wote tunawashukuru. Hata mgeni wetu pia tunakupa shukrani kwa kupata nafasi ya kuzungumza na sisi. Na tunawahimiza wale wote wapenzi wa yale tunayaita quad bikes, tunawaambia unapofurahishwa na unahitaji quad bike yote, tembelea Quad Bike World lililoko barabara ya Mudhangari katika mtaa wa Lavington. Unapofika pale, they will give you affordable prices and they will not leave you alone. They will also journey with you towards maintenance. So we thank you so much, all those who made this program possible. And for those who are viewing for the first time and have not subscribed, we ask you to kindly subscribe and so that you can support this production and more. For those, we thank you so much. And asante sana mheshimiwa. On behalf of the entire team, I've been your host Duncan, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Until we do it next time.
Asante.
Asante.
Asante.